The guy that you guys are seeing on the screen right now is somebody who I've seen grown in so many ways of entertainment in the last couple of years. And even today, in kind of trying to get into some ideas for the discussion that we're going to have tonight, it once again hits me that you will not find a guy who has touched almost every facet of entertainment and still ended up into DJing, and is actually an expert at many of these facets. So that's something I always find very, very interesting. Very, very interesting, right? Also want you guys to know that this guy, if you did not know before, is the producer of the Road March and Party Monarch for Crop Over 2019. The name of the track was called Sometimes. That was one of my best tunes, one of the tunes I love for the year. I would go into a personal story about how I lost a girlfriend on that, but that's a different story for a different day. At the same point in time, he is the Red Bull 2018 Threestyle wildcard finalist. He was a finalist in Red Bull, that's correct?
Yeah, I basically won the wild card in 2017, and in 2018 I went to the World Finals in Poland. Good.
So he represented Barbados and by extension the Caribbean in 2018 in the Red Bull Freestyle competition, and he also went on to win the Red Bull 2019 Caribbean Challenge. And from that, I know you were also on your way to going to represent the Caribbean and Barbados again. So, ladies and gentlemen, the guy on the screen, Mr. Justin King.
Yo, what's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I was actually supposed to be in Russia, like I think last week. Myself and Puffy, the World Final was supposed to be like last week.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at your schedule, and you were supposed to be in, I think it was somewhere this week. You were supposed to be in Antigua, I think, last weekend.
Man, I was supposed to be in a couple countries over the past few weeks, man. I've lost all my gigs up until maybe October.
Yeah. And that is the general consensus with everybody. As well, we saw today that Grenada finally announced that they are not having carnival again. So for all those that were holding out,
boy, that's a real big blow.
For everybody, I think when I lost St. Vincent, that was hard. When I lost St. Lucia, that hit a real nerve. And then I kind of figured that Barbados would have been soon after, and that's something we're going to touch on as well. But you see, Grenada, I think when people saw Grenada got canceled, they were like, that was the last one, boy. I was wondering when they were going to announce, because I know once Crop Over announced and Grenada's a week later, I didn't see them really going through that. But at the same point in time, you have to have life to party, you have to have life to enjoy yourself, and protecting life is the most important thing. As usual, the first question I ask everybody, how have you been personally dealing with COVID-19 in Barbados? I know you guys had a couple of days when you were having some cases going up, but what is the situation like in Barbados right now?
I mean, I find that Bajans are, they're taking it seriously, but not overly seriously. That's one thing that I kind of grateful for. I mean, obviously, when it first started out and the lockdown started, everybody was talking about it all the time, and that was driving me a little crazy, to be honest. Like every time I go, because I mean, like as entertainers, like we spend a lot of our time here in the lab. This is where I am for majority of my day, if I'm not sleeping, even before COVID-19. And my way of connecting to the world and seeing what's going on and learning what's going on outside of these walls of the studio is on social media. So when everybody was going off on social media about COVID-19, it started to make me feel caged in. Like, that's why I haven't really been doing any lives. I try to not be on social media too much, but it's slowing down now, I think that more than anything, it was more the mental that was affecting everybody, because it was just, everything was about COVID-19, but as far as the country, I find the government has done a good job in containing the infected persons, and I find that the Prime Minister has done a good job of like communicating to the public and stuff like that, so people feel some sense of safety. I think we'll be all right.
And that point you raised about the mental aspect of it is something that I know when I spoke to you a little bit earlier, we want to touch on within the conversation. So that's something that we definitely going to say for later. But I mean, at the same point in time, the one thing that this virus has done is allowed us all to stay home and at least try to be able to find different sources of relaxation and delve into things that we usually don't delve in. So I know that you're a very big gamer. right? So from the gaming aspect, this is one of two grosses I've been Jus Jay King, right? I sent Jus Jay an invitation on PS4. I have not received a response as yet. However,
it's probably not your name then, because I didn't know. I don't accept weird names and things, because there are people that like play FIFA with me and that online or whatever, and they might just add me after the game. I don't know who they are.
Right.
You know,
so I've been hearing from a little bird, Selector Kerry. I've been hearing from a bird that Jus Jay, he is not all that in FIFA, but when it comes down to what you call it?
That's a lie.
Sorry?
That was a lie.
What is boy?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
No, I wash off Kerry in all. In both FIFA and Call of Duty. He can't touch me.
He said you and Puffy are the Call of Duty bantams. Is that true?
He can't touch me at any. Him nor Puffy. I slaughtered both of them in FIFA and Call of Duty. He can't touch me at none.
Before the night is over, I'm going to make sure and turn my PS4 and go back again to send that. You play NBA Live at all? You're not on NBA?
No. I'm not into basketball like that. I like it, but I don't really know the game like that, so I don't.
All right, no problem.
Yeah.
Last time when I had the discussion with Kevin Crown, he said something which I am going to actually start applying to my own self. And he said, and I wrote it down, when you stop evolving, you start devolving, which is something I found is real powerful.
He said that when you stop evolving, you start
evolving, you start devolving. And
devolving?
Yeah. And I thought that was really powerful words. And then today when you and I had that conversation and you sent me the WhatsApp message you sent me, I wrote it down and I came up with the concept that Jus Jay is the sultan of natural progression. Seriously. Here why I say that, right? Everybody has a story. And I think you have probably one of the most interesting stories when it comes to entertainment. So it's better you tell your story than me. Because as I said in the introduction, Jus Jay has probably touched in every facet of entertainment in Barbados and has done extremely well in all of them and still keeps going. So for anybody that just thinks that Jus Jay is just the DJ that started doing this a couple of months ago, give them like a brief version of the Jus Jay story.
It's a long one. It stems back 12 years plus, actually longer than that. I mean, for any Bajans in here who would have known me from back in school days, I started out because I always wanted to be a football player. That's what that was my thing. You know, I was a real good footballer.
I see people in the chat now correcting me and saying dissolving. So thank you very much. Right, dissolving. As I say, when you stop evolving, you start dissolving. Thanks a lot, guys. Right.
Yeah. So I started out in football. My dream was to be a top football player. I was the captain of the school team. You know, won trophies, best defenders, titles, everything.
Kevin said it was just okay.
Yeah. He would say that because he was garbage.
All right.
Anyway, my knees went in like second form, like when I was like about 13, 14, and that was the end. Like I wasn't able to keep up, you know. Like I would be walking sometimes and I would just collapse. Like my knee would just give out, both of them. I used to walk with 2 knee braces on both knees, and back in them days I still don't really like go to doctors and stuff like that. I kind of just always felt like it would just heal itself, and to this day my knees are still damaged. Right. You know, so it was that bad, and I realized it was done. I realized that dream was done, and at the point in time, I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to do. And then this You Got Served movie came out, and I got fascinated by the whole breakdance thing. And then I started dancing. Right. And I had 2 friends at the time, one being Rennie Nelson, who's a producer here in the studio too, and Elliot's top producer. I learned a lot of stuff from him. And then this other one, Justin Ward. And basically they were the top dancers. Like back then there wasn't no PlayStation and thing really like that. Like people used to go outside and ride bicycles. People used to dance and find other activities to do, play football, play sports, play cricket. You know, so as such, like being a dancer back in them days was like, wow. Like I feel like people think that now I have a big following. I feel like when I was in school was when the following was massive. You know, like entire auditoriums of people screaming and cheering and
coming to see you
jumping on the floor. And my signature move is I used to run and slide across the floor on my head, no hands and no feet. I used to just run, put down my hands, slide, and then take all my hand and feet off the ground. And I would just skate right across the platform. And it used to send the crowd ballistic, like completely ballistic. And that's how my whole my whole thirst for the whole stage started. You know, when you feel that love from people, you feel like people appreciating what you're doing, you know, it makes you feel a sort of way, you know. So that's what it started. I was doing a lot of dancing and stuff like that in hip hop break dancing. And then shortly after that, I mean, obviously you guys know that Rihanna's from Barbados, and that was a real big deal. Like the same guy, Renee, that was a dancer, Nellyx, he was like really close friends with her at Combermere School here in Barbados. And basically, I used to see her around with him and so on, like in different parties. I would see her around Boatyard when we were going partying, but I feel like I didn't know her really like that. I just kind of knew her as an acquaintance to him. And then next thing you know, like that, I turn on BT, and this girl that was right there in the party is on BT with a smash hit.
Replay.
And I feel like now, if it was to happen, people would be a little more normalized to it. But back then, that was impossible. That was not possible for a Bajan to ever be on a platform like that, you know?
Correct.
I mean, in fairness, Rupi did it first. I should correct that. Rupi did it first, but there was something about the way that when Rihanna came in, because Rupi did it with soca, so it was still kind of like, okay, this is our music, but Rihanna was doing it with...
As I said, Rupi, big up to Barry Hype guys in the
yeah, for sure, Barry in the chat.
Yeah, man.
Rupi was the first, and then when Rihanna came out, it was different because she was singing R&B and pop music, and that was music that it was like unreal. Like Bajans, we don't have a chance in our minds.
Yeah,
that's the thing about the mind. Like, so that I feel like Rihanna really changed my life with what she had achieved as a person without me knowing her like on a personal level like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I got these stars in my eyes, and I decided I wanted to start singing.
Right.
So I was singing up and down the house all the time, trying to sing any Omarion song I could sing, any Usher song. I was a kid. I just had stars in my eyes. I wanted to be a star. If she could do it, then maybe I could do it too. Right. You know, I joined a band, and I was a lead singer in a band for 3 years.
So do you have your own soca track? You have your own soca track from your band?
But I won't let you hear that though.
No, man. No, Jay.
I am so embarrassed. I tell you, I had stars in my eyes. I just wanted to be a star. I did these songs, and I'm not a bad singer or anything. A lot of people don't know, but I actually still sing a lot of the backgrounds on my productions. Like I actually sang background vocals on some.
So why we can't hear the song?
Nah, man. That song terrible.
Come on,
but
bro.
Yeah, man. I joined this band, and I remember, funny enough, before we move on to the productions with Cass and so on, Cass, before he bust, this is 10+ years ago, came to Barbados promoting himself. And I remember he was singing like in like Cass, the band was an alternative type band back in them days.
Yeah, it was, right.
And he came to the Ship-In, which was the nightclub, kind of night spot that I used to sing at with this band. And basically, he was in the crowd, and he just jumped on, and me and him sang a song together. I think it was a Bob Marley song. We did it together, you know. And then like 10 years later, we ended up working together on the I Shall Return.
I Shall Return track, yeah.
You know, but in 2008, I released a soca song, and I went to the Soca Monarch in Barbados with it.
What's the name of that song?
I'm not telling you.
No, mind you,
it was terrible. It was terrible. Honestly, the music was dreadful. I'm not proud of it at all.
Barry Hype is saying that he's going to look for the song. Yeah? So
Barry, please don't, man. Don't do that. You're gonna really embarrass me. But I went to the Soca Monarch as a singer, and honestly, even though I'm so embarrassed about those times in my life, I feel like they were some of the most important learning curves for me, you know, in terms of even my productions these days. Like I know how to deal with the stage and so on because of it. I'll show you a picture of the Soca Monarch. Actually, this is a picture of me dancing on stage.
Bro!
Yeah, I was a kid back then, Dread.
Bro!
Right? And that guy next to me was the other Justin Ward. Like, these were some of the moves I would do.
Yo!
Yeah, I would have probably been like about 15 when I took that picture.
DJ Kashi is saying that he has your track. Yeah? I'm seeing DJ
He does,
Kashi.
but I would appreciate it if Kashi just doesn't. I get real embarrassed about it. That's the truth. I really don't like when people like bring it up and stuff. Like seriously, I just get real embarrassed. This was the Soca Monarch performance. Yeah. So there were good times, man. There were good times, but those were the learning curves for me in terms of getting on the stage and you know, working the stage, learning how to become a presence. Because when you're singing in a band, it's not like say if you're DJing behind a DJ set. Like you had to come up front and you had to make yourself big. There's certain tactics to being a stage performer where you, as one individual, have to utilize a 40-foot stage with just your 5 foot, however much self, you know.
And as I said that point, that's something I want to make a mention to DJs looking at this as well. I've had that experience. I know Barry is here. Barry will talk about that. Even when I had selected Kerry on, when Kerry and I was having our discussion last week, he was talking about announcers and the way that some of them will just stick behind the DJ. But for you that have that stage experience of being on stage, I used to do drama in school, so I always remember when the drama teacher would be like, well, you go here, you do this, whatever. So we have a full understanding of you have to utilize the stage to connect with people. Yeah,
correct. So that's where I started. I mean, if you watch me perform now, even because I do a lot of work with Patrick a lot too, when I'm not playing by myself, and even when I'm DJing for Patrick, I will still come to the front as the guy DJing, which is not something that you see often.
Correct.
You don't really see the DJ if you got MC up there coming to the front. But because of my understanding of stage performance, I feel like if it's two guys operating that big stage, it is even better than one. You understand? Because oftentimes he will control one side, I will control one side, and we create an atmosphere on the stage, you know. And all of that ideas, it comes from performing as a dance in a dance group. It was 4 of us in a dance group. We had to make formations to utilize the stage. So at any point in time while you've been performing, have you been tempted to bust out any dance move on stage? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I don't sing no more. I don't dance. Even if I'm just in a party, I don't really dance. Like I'll touch on that a little later. It's something about entertainment that kind of killed a part of me.
Right.
It's a little sad. It killed a part of me, but I love entertainment. I just don't enjoy like going out in parties anymore the way that I would have if I never got into entertainment.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something we're gonna talk about later.
It kill a spark in me, and I actually like when I go Uber Soca and stuff, and I see all these DJs in one place, and I see them having a blast. I'd be like, good for y'all, man. Like this is so dope. Like I wish I could, but it's something about my introverted nature. Cause I'm a bad introvert too. That I want to go and enjoy myself, but I can't. I find myself in the back. You know, somewhere just it becomes too much for me after a point, you know.
Yeah, we definitely gonna touch on that. I have a whole different section of the conversation because you and I share that thought process. but I've been fighting myself to be otherwise. And a lot of people know about me.
Me too.
So when would you say was the transition then from being soca artist?
It almost happened immediately. It almost happened like that. So in going through the journey of Jus Jay, like part of the whole dancing journey and the singing journey, there was another side, I would say it was an equal career. And as another thing we could touch on later too, where I feel like a lot of entertainers need to look into having their hands in different pots, you know. When I was singing in this band, and it started while I was dancing, I became a graphic artist professionally. Right. And a lot of people don't know, but I actually designed everything Jus Jay that you see, everything for all of my events, for Lost in Paradise Lifted, all my events, all the flyers, you see all the DJs on. I actually designed them right here in the same chair. Right. You know, the animation for some time. If you look at the lyric video on YouTube, it took me 24 hours. I sat here and I did that myself.
That was a Premiere Pro. You did that or Final Cut?
Between Final Cut and Photoshop. The design work I do in Photoshop, and I do some of the animation in Final Cut. Right. But I became a graphic artist, and it just happened. All of this because remember I told you I wanted to be a footballer. After that, I didn't really know because like school wasn't for me. And as a kid, I just felt like I was just a fuck up. Wait, can I curse here? Sorry. I was just a mess up.
It's a free channel. You go ahead.
I just felt like, I remember like going into CXCs and I partying the night before and I reach into school tired and half drunk and girls like, oh, look, he destined for nothing and he ain't gonna be nobody. I remember it like it's yesterday. I could still hear their voices piercing through my head. Like, you could hear them as you walk by. I didn't know, like, I was the guy that would come into a class and I wouldn't reach through the door. The teacher would just be like, you could just stay outside one time.
Wow.
It was like nobody really believed in me as an academic. And
wow.
And those times, again, entertainment wasn't a real career, quote unquote, like it wasn't, nobody wanted their child to be a singer really because you may never make it,
Yeah.
Or whatever, or DJ, like nobody cared, people, if you weren't trying to be a doctor, lawyer, or whatever, it wasn't taken seriously,
Yeah.
So I feel like I went by a friend at the time and he was a guy, his parents they're fairly wealthy and I didn't come up in much. So I would go over by him because he had these computers and he had all these cameras and this was in the times of dial-up internet and he had this software called Paint Shop Pro. And I guess it was kind of like a knockoff version of like a Photoshop. And I remember he took a picture of me and he changed the color of my eyes to red. It was something real cheesy, but remember back in them times, technology wasn't big like that really yet.
Right.
So I was like, yo, how did you do that, dog? Like I need to know, like, how are my eyes red? Like, how do you do that? And I remember a little while later, my mom finally got a computer. It was really slow, but I still got the software. And I put it on it. And I remember she would quarrel with me all the time because I would do all these things and I'd crash the computer because the computer wasn't built for that. And I would just keep messing around and cutting out tanks and Hummers and putting them behind me, doing all kind of foolish things. And that became a second career for me. I went on to designing flyers for all the biggest events and the biggest nightclubs in Barbados. And I, at one point, merged the company. It was called Red Trident Productions. And I merged the company to be a social media platform when Facebook started to come in. Right. And social media started to become a thing. I started running social media and designing flyers for these nightclubs, which were Club Extreme and Club 360 in Barbados. Right? And basically, those were the two top dog clubs. Like Club Extreme was like Zen. It was like that. And it was well ahead of its time. And I remember I was singing in the band and I was fed up of it because, like I said, I just had stars in my eyes, but that's not really, I didn't know at the time, but it wasn't really that wasn't my path. That was just something I felt I needed to do. Right. So eventually I just quit the band and I just went into running the social media and design full time. And then this nightclub ended up shutting down. And that nightclub was actually owned by King Bubba and his family, actually. Right. And they sold it and they opened Slam FM in Barbados. Wow. So I was working for them as their social media and graphic design guy. Right. His mom and dad were running the club. Right. And they sold it. They opened Slam FM, and then shortly after, this Christian lady came and decided she basically saved us. Like, she decided that she was gonna buy this club to see if she could at least convert one person to Christianity. That was actually the actual story. So she bought this very popular nightclub. And her stipulation was that at least one night a week had to be a Christian night. Oh, and she bought all of this Christian gear. She bought all this music equipment, and she had Christian bands. Yo, serious? Yes, I continue to do it, and that is the reason. That woman, I wish I could tell her that. Like, the guy still lives here. Matthew Cottrell is his name. A lot of y'all know him. He does Kingdom Kennels. These dog. He does a lot of dogs and stuff. Anyway, because that happened, I was able to keep that job, and I eventually convinced them to let me have a night at the club, as in like to host my own night. But when I was trying to convince them, they wouldn't budge. They weren't interested. They were like, "You're just a social media guy. Like, why would we trust you to do that?" Yeah. Kind of thing. So around that same time period, I had left the Caribbean for the first. Remember, I didn't really come up in a whole big set of money. So like, I went to Venezuela because that's where my mom's from. When I was young, and I went to St. Lucia a lot because that's where my dad's from. Right. But apart from that, I had never left the Caribbean ever until I was 20 years old, and I went to New York City for the first time.
Right.
And I will never forget stepping out the subway in onto Times Square. And that changed my life forever. Because
it is an experience. I had that same feeling too, like, because you just feel overwhelmed by everything around you.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that you are much smaller in the world than you really thought you were. And there's so much more to see than just what you're accustomed to. Yeah.
Fun fact, this guy in the chat here, Ross Island Tiles, is the first person ever to book me. All I had was a laptop and an aux cable.
Big up Ross, boy.
Yeah, he's actually a Trini too. He lives here in Barbados. Big up Ross, man.
Cool. Great.
Yeah, man. So I went to Times Square and I just fell in love with everything I saw as a graphic artist. When you're talking marketing, it don't get better than Times Square, boy. Like with all the screens and everything I saw, it just changed my mind.
Right.
You know, it opened my world. And then at the time I had a girlfriend and she was very into pop music and she was a singer as well. And she had a best friend who was real connected in New York. So we went to all of these like dance music parties. It was New York Fashion Week actually. So that's a big week in New York City. So I remember I went up there and I fell in love with dance music. Like it was like house music, pop music, electronic music, and I just fell in love with that, man. So I came back to New York, and I came back from New York with a Newmark mix track after that, because I had just been messing around with just the laptop and the aux cable before.
Right.
And I came back and I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do this for real. And I got like a silly little mix track. It's around here somewhere, man. And I would just practice with it or whatever. And when I convinced them to let me have the nightclub, I would post myself as one of the DJs too. And my name was DJ Justin King at the time, like my real name. Yeah, like that's what was on the flyer, DJ Justin King.
Right.
You know, and that's how my DJ journey started. You know, the club, because when they had rebranded and the Barbados family and then they had sold the club, when the new owners took it over, nobody was coming. It was like 10 people, literally 10 people. Right. So for an entire year, I would sit in that club and play, and there would be 10 people, 5 people, 17 people, you know, and I'm designing the flyers and doing everything I can for an entire year until Trinidad Carnival came around. And I decided I'd never been to Trinidad ever. I didn't know nothing about Carnival. But I decided I'm going to hold this series and I'm going to call it the Club Carnival series. Right. And each week had a theme. One was Mardi Gras. One was, it was around Valentine's Day. So it was a Valentine's one. Right. And it just skyrocketed. It went completely, it blew completely out the water. An entire year losing money every week. And I wasn't really making that much money anyway, you know. Like, so I was investing all of my money and not making any money, but I just believed in it. Like I felt like the work ethic would pay off. And every week, new flyers, new art, new committee members, new music, whatever, you know. And I just putting myself on the bill and I'm playing every week, getting better. As
DJ Justin King.
As DJ Justin King. But eventually, between that process is when I would have rebranded to Jus Jay. Right. And there's no real logic behind the name. There's no real reasoning. I was like, it's just me, I'm Jus Jay. Like, whatever. Like, it was no real. People always ask me, why Jus Jay?
Just because you're just Jay,
I'm just Jay, whatever. Yeah. You know, so, that party was called Liquid. We had tried several names and we ended up with this event Liquid, and it just blew up. And it was real weird because as soon that Club Carnival series was 4 weeks long, and at the end of that 4 weeks, the club got shut down. The insurance company came in, there was some misunderstanding, they put locks on the door and shut down the place. Right. And the owners felt like betrayed by it because they'd known that they didn't do anything wrong. So what they did is they went in with sledgehammers and they said, well, y'all not getting any of this. Like, because the insurance company owned the building. So like they would have just given it to somebody else. Somebody would have started a new club. And that nearly brought tears to my eyes. I tell you this, there will never be a nightclub like Club Extreme again in Barbados. Wow. They took sledgehammers in front of my eyes and broke the place to pieces. Like, that I stood up there like, and I could not believe what I was seeing. You know, like that was my whole work gone. My this whole new path dead. You know. So as soon as we got the popularity, it shut down, and then we decided, you know what, we're gonna do this party as a one-off every month. and the people stayed with us, and this party ended up becoming a 2-stage music festival. Like it was like the biggest Halloween thing in Barbados, like 3,000 people, kids, because I was a kid. I was like 19 years old, you know,
right.
19, 20 years old. And it became a big thing. There, we have a Concorde jet in Barbados. And
Yeah.
I used to throw the party underneath that jet. So you could look up and see the jet above you, you know. It was incredible, man. Like big costume competitions, thousands of people in costumes. I feel like there'll never be anything like it again, you know. And it wasn't only just me, it was me and the same Nellyx. The two of us, we kind of took on that project, you know. And that is what really shot me out of the water in terms of starting to get into the bigger side of DJing.
You know, as you mentioned all that, I want to ask you a question. Two questions actually, which is not on what I have here, but I think it's important to identify, because one of the things that individuals, especially a lot of younger DJs, and again, I want to say that we don't treat saying younger DJs in a negative light, because we look at this as sharing the information. And it was clear from everything that you were saying that you paid a lot of dues to get to the point where you got to, right?
Oh, yeah.
Has there been any point in time where, like, you've been performing in some particular country or some particular place that you never thought you would go, and you just look back to the days of doing those parties at Club Extreme and having to fight up to get certain things done, and at that point in time when the struggles seem to be great, and for you, Jus Jay, as I call it, the sultan of natural progression, who is trying to progress along the ladder, but again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Seeing that long journey. Has there been any time you've gone to a place to play and you just look back on that and say it was extremely worth it for that moment?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I feel like that happens so often, you know. When Tribe first called me to play on the road with them, being a part of Uber Soca Cruise, you know, I boarded something like 50 something planes in 2019.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about stuff like that, that would never happen without all of these things that I did, including the singing that I'm so embarrassed about, you know.
You go and find that song, huh? I just said we'll find the song. I just say it.
All right, if you find it, just don't post it online, because I'm really embarrassed about it.
All right.
But yeah, so I always, and these journeys, man, like the same Liquid event, that it reached a point where I started flying DJs, because I had this idea to unite the Caribbean. So remember, I told you it turned it into a music festival.
Yeah.
So one of them I had Willie Chin representing Jamaica, I had Lord Hype representing Trinidad, I had Team Energy Overload representing St. Vincent,
yeah.
and then I had a Venezuelan girl and a Puerto Rican girl as well, you know. So one of these stages was like a house and dance music, because when it first started out, that was my thing. It was house and electronic music. I was running a whole underground rave scene here in Barbados. It's so much things that I could blabber on forever about, you know. Like I did a lot, and as a new guy on the scene, I feel like a lot of people probably feel like, yeah, this man come out of nowhere. But for people in Barbados would know, you know, people who know me here know, like, I've been doing this for a very long time.
And that's it, because to me, and later on I'll refer to a story that came up with you and I actually back in January 2018, I guess, just before you went to the Red Bull freestyle competition. And when you look at it, you have been so involved in entertainment for such a long period of time, and there have been so many different things that you dabbled in. If, let me say tomorrow, you had to choose one of these things that you would be part of for the rest of your life. Let me just say, Jay, you have one choice. You can either be a DJ, a graphic artist, a soca artist, or a party. I don't like to say party promoter, but you can be an event coordinator and something like that. Which one do you think you would be if there was one?
None.
You can't choose. You can't choose one.
I think that I you know, this is gonna sound so messed up, but I feel like if I could choose something, I would choose to be a party goer again. Right. Because I miss that. Like I remember I was just talking about it. Like I don't have a good time when I go out. You know, and it's not because the DJs ain't good. It's not because the parties ain't good. It's me. Like you gotta understand that when you've done the graphics, you've done the music that's being played. When you play the music, when you put on events, you notice every light out of place. You notice when the door's slow. You know when a man losing. And that's the worst. I walk into a party and I know when a man is losing, man. I know immediately. I walk in a party and I say, fuck, this man is losing a shitload of money right now. Yeah. I know it. Like, I want to just walk into a party and be like, yeah, gal, drinks. We party.
Right.
You know, I can't do that. I walk on, I'll go on Uber Soca cruise and I'll be like, jeez, I wonder how much it costs to put up this stage. I wonder how much it costs to put this boat or like whatever, you know.
Let me delve into that because that's something we're going to say for later, but I think we can delve into that now because I've realized that that's an important topic. One of the things I guess I've tried to do is to try to be a patron as well as a DJ, right? Yeah. And there have been many parties where I've gone and people will see me jamming down the road, especially in St. Vincent, for whatever reason. It's always happening in Vinci and St. Lucia. Those two places, it always happens. But I always try my best to enjoy everywhere that I go. Because for me, just like you, I didn't come from means. So the fact that last year, which was supposed to be my year of travel, I had the opportunity to go to so many countries. It was still something for me that I wanted to live in every single moment. Why do you think that in general you don't enjoy the party aspect of it as a game? Because as I just said, if you could choose anything, you'd be a patron. But many people would argue that you've been blessed to perform on stages that some DJs here and some people here would dream to go up. You have you actually are one of the few that could sit down and say that when you sit in your car and somebody says, yo, this song is one of the biggest songs in the world right now, sometime comes on and you produce that. Why is it then so challenging for you to be able to actually be a party goer and to enjoy the event as it is then?
You know, people ask me, I talk about this with people all the time, you know. I feel like, and I say this all the time, I feel like we are entertainers. And in general, that's what the name says. We entertain. Right. You know, so I feel like people who work in a bank, a man who works trucking, a man who works a store, a woman who works a clothing store, whatever. I feel like that's their job. And when they're done, they look to a form of entertainment to take themselves away. That could be Netflix, which is actors, production. That could be music, which is DJs, which is producers, any form of entertainment. I find that people look to entertainment. But where do entertainers then look when they want to get away from their job, when their job is to entertain? That is the interesting point right there. And that is something I'm struggling badly with. I feel like I don't know, like when I go into a party, it's almost like you get high on a very addictive drug like cocaine, right? And it takes you up this high, and then you come down, and unless you take that drug again, you can't reach that high. So that's why the only time I have fun is when I'm DJing, because that's like my cocaine, right? That's the only thing that gets me high. Like I actually have, when you see me on a stage and it's be all smiles and I'm jumping around the place, that's real, you know.
Yep,
that's real.
It's funny because, and I'll say this because it's so strange just saying this to me because it makes a lot of sense now, is that in me personally knowing you, because the first time I met you was actually, and I was trying to remember today, the first time I met you was actually in 2014. And that was in St. Vincent for Hypnosis. It was a party around Christmas. Giant Entertainment I did. And I remember our interactions after. And you're very right. Like when you see you on stage, you are animated, you're energetic, you have that particular passion. But sometimes when you have a normal conversation, you're so much more reserved than people would think that you are. Which is one of the reasons why we've been having these conversations, because I think that a lot of people don't really understand the human side of entertainment. And the fact that as much as Jus Jay is this producer who did this great song, he's worked with Kes, he's on Red Bull Threestyle. But then if you look at the video that Jus Jay posted a couple of years ago, where he deconstructed his Red Bull performance and showed the mistakes, you critically analyze everything. So it's like there's trouble for you now to actually enjoy the thing that you produce the most.
There is. And you know, interestingly enough, I think that's why Uber Soca Cruise shout out to Nat and Jody and Daniel and the crew. That is a great concept, and I feel like that's one of the few times that I actually have a good time, and I feel like it's because there's so many entertainers who are in the same place, so many people who are going through the same thing as you, similar to you, you know, who will chill in the same corner as you because that's what they do too, you know. So you end up talking shit with them, and you know they have things to talk about that you care to talk about, you know. Like I'll be in a party, and I'm not anti-social, but remember I told you that I'm a bad introvert. So sometimes people come to me and they talk about random things that it's not that I'm an asshole or anything. It's just I don't really want to talk about how do you find the set? Like I don't want to talk about that. Like I just did that, you know. Like I like people who always joking, you know. A lot of my friends and my close core group are jokers, always talking shit. They never really ask me, you know, they don't even know when I'm playing. They don't care, you know. Like I like that. Like I like having conversations about things that I'm not involved, because it's almost like I remember we were just talking about the whole entertainment thing. Like where do we go after we're done with the entertaining? Where do we now find our entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
And I find that in having different conversations with people as opposed to talking about, you know, like, yeah, man, everybody asking me, so how'd you come up with some time? Like I'm in a party and people asking me about the song, like 10, 15 people, you know, and I might reach a point where I get tired, and I'm not saying I'll be an asshole to somebody, but I might not be as enthusiastic. I might be like, yeah, you know, and somebody might take that as you being rude to them, but it kind of sucks because it's like I want to talk. It's just that I feel so drained, and that's why I end up not staying in parties. I walk in a party and walk right back out because I get so tired. Like my mind gets incredibly exhausted of having like the same conversations, and I'm hearing the same music that I play all the time anyway. I practice it at home all over and over to learn the music, to sort out my crates, to then play out, and then I go back into a party and hear other DJs playing it too. Like I want to do this and shut off from the world.
So you know, and I'm gonna bring up a Selector Kerry story, because about a couple of years ago, Kerry was the road DJ for 5 Star Akil. I did a couple of shows with them. I remember Kerry was telling me, and I felt that one night, because they had to go from Port of Spain, for anybody that doesn't know in the chat, they had to go from the northern part of Trinidad to the southern part of Trinidad. While driving down the highway, we are playing Different Me on rotation. And it's because they want to ensure that when they run out on when Akil runs out on stage, Kerry know what song to bring here. If there's a particular part of the chords that sounds different, that he can do something different with and make a remix for the next production, he wants to listen to it. So then by the end of the carnival season, or during the carnival season, when people come and saying, "Wait, you're a real big boy," and all the talk that you'd be saying, for them it's musical and professional exhaustion. And at that point in time, I understand the point where you say that where do you know? And just like many other creatives go, where the job that we love to do also impacts us in such a great way that now we need a break from that. And where do you go together? And in the Caribbean, where partying and fetting is synonymous with having a good time, it's kind of challenging to actually find yourself in a space.
It is challenging, you know. And then like another thing that is quite difficult to cope with is like, you say like I leave the Caribbean and I go to America to play, and I try to play anything that's not Caribbean, people don't want to hear that.
Right.
You know, so it's almost like you're stuck in a cycle. It's like they want to hear music that makes them feel like they were back home, which I understand completely. Right. You know, as a professional, you kind of got to give them what they want. But sometimes I really wish that I could just go out and play whatever I wanted.
I know multiple DJs who share that same opinion, because especially in the Caribbean, where and I would say more for Trinidad especially, where music is kind of like on a rotation. And I'm sure you can experience this when you go to some different island and you get to play something that's different. There's a rush that comes with that, as opposed to playing the same thing. And that's why one of the things I promised myself in the conversation that we had tonight was I wasn't going to ask you how it felt like to produce sometime and where you got the concept from. Because I am thinking in my mind that 1 million people probably would have asked you that question.
This is a different forum, so I don't mind. It's like if I'm in a party and I'm just trying to chill and people asking me these questions, like for me to tell you, like I could tell you right out, I will tell you. But like for me to go through that with everybody that asks me in a party, I'll be mentally exhausted by the time I'm done. And like sometimes it was a massive record for Crop Over. So,
would you consider that, which is one of the questions I wanted to ask you, would you consider the success of Sometime probably the biggest accomplishment that you've made so far? And I say that because obviously you've represented Barbados internationally, and there's nothing taking away from Soca Monarch or Party Monarch or Road March in Barbados, nothing taking away from that. But do you think that by the fact that you actually produced this record and went on to be not just a big record in Barbados but internationally, do you consider that one of the biggest thing that you've done thus far?
I'll share it, and I'm going to explain why for both.
Right.
I would say that the success of Sometime in Barbados, particularly in Barbados, nothing to do with the success outside.
Right.
The success in Barbados, as well as me performing and representing my country in the Red Bull Threestyle World Finals.
Right.
I would share those two as probably the two pinnacles of my success so far. Right. And these are the reasons why. Remember I told you that I always wanted to be a football player.
Yeah.
The biggest thing you could achieve in football is probably a World Cup.
Right.
Right? So as such, I always had this thing where I wanted to represent my country.
Yeah.
And when my knees went, that was the end. It was no representing Barbados. Right. Until DJ Puffy came now and entered this competition that I was following the competition all along.
Right.
I never knew that a person that outside of these countries could enter.
Yeah.
This boy entered this competition and he posted a picture of him pointing and saying, "Wish me luck." And I messaged him immediately, like, "How did you enter this competition?" He explained it to me. And I never stopped thinking about it since, because it's not really about winning for me. You see, like, I have this obsession with representing my country. And I don't get into country wars at all. It's not about who country better. I just feel like that's where I'm from. I love to represent my where I'm from and what I do. So my school, QC, I'm a QC boy forever. They got a lot of QC people that hate the school. I love QC to death. That is my school. That's my Queen's country, College, right? Barbados. That's my country. Like, I wanted to represent.
QC is Queen's College, right?
Queen's College, yeah.
Right.
So because I got to Puffy, who actually made this terminology when he had won. I remember he had said, you know, this is kind of like the Olympics of DJing, and I had to agree. Like, it is. This is the biggest DJ competition in the world. Yeah. This brings together 25 nations from across the globe to compete. You know, for a little island like Barbados to be in it is a major achievement. So to me, that blew my mind when I got in. That was it for me. Yeah. You know, and then with Sometime, now this song is also super special to me for a couple of reasons, and it has everything to do with Barbados. Now, Barbados has some of the most iconic, you know, obviously Trinidad is a mecca of soca. So when we talk about soca, you know, there are icons galore from Trinidad. Right. But I hear the term small island all the time, and I wonder sometimes if people don't realize that Barbados is also a very small island. Yeah. We are very tiny, and what we've achieved it goes beyond words.
It's phenomenal, yeah.
I'm proud to say that Alison Hines sit down in the studio and record something here for me, you know, the Queen, like a absolute legend, Edwin Yearwood, Rupee, you know, Blood, these guys Square One the band, Crossfire the band, you know, to have a song that dominated the road and is stamped in the history of a nation that beyond all odds is one of the greatest soca nations on earth. Right. You understand? I believe me and Leadpipe were the 41st Road March champions. We will forever be in the history of the great crop over. Right. You know, this is up there with the Trinidad Carnival. It's a great carnival, you know. This is when we talk about carnivals, crop over is up there. It's up there. To have that song, I don't think that will ever leave my memory. I will never stop being proud about it. You know, and then the second part about it that I was real proud about is it is the slowest song ever to win the Road March by far. Right. Right. No song at 105 BPMs has ever come close to winning the Road March. Correct. The slowest song that ever won the Road March, other than mine, was Sac Passe with Crossfire. That was slower than Be Loose? That was slower than Be Loose? Yeah. Sac Passe is 110 118 or 120
yes,
BPMs
correct.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it's the slowest song ever to dominate a road in Barbados, you know, and then it's just the sound of it and everything. I felt like it was a new generation saying, yo, like it's time for us to step up now and take the mantle and, you know, run with it and show some of the new blood in Barbados, you know.
And we are back with the Sultan of natural progression, Jus Jay.
Is it natural though? Is it actually natural progression?
I think it's natural progression. I think because...
You want to hear something interesting?
Tell me.
You know, I hate when people tell me that I'm talented. I actually, and that's weird, right? Because I get that all the time, and one would think I'm grateful, but when people tell me that I'm talented, I kind of feel like this isn't talent. This is work.
But I'll tell you the talent that you have. You have dedication and commitment, which to me is something that is in itself a talent, because there are some people that have natural talent. So I just saw Selector Kerry join into the chat just now, and I was roving jokers always compare Kerry to Nick Cannon in drumline, and Kerry's the kind of guy when Nick Cannon was drumming, and then Nick Cannon will watch it and come back and do it. That's the same thing I say about Selector Kerry, right? That's a superpower, right? But at the same point in time, even if it is that you don't think that you might be talented, or you might hate when people say talented, because you look at that as a betrayal of the hard work. I think that your natural talent is your commitment to being better, and that's what says a natural progression.
That's a good point.
That's what says a natural.
I kind of feel like like sometimes when people say like I'm talented, I kind of feel like they think that he just kind of got that. But
no, because right, say for example this, right? You said that you wanted to play football and you damaged your knees badly. You could have packed up on your knees and done, but you went into dancing, right? And that still takes you having to utilize your legs to do that. And at some point in time, I'm sure you were in pain, but it's like, yo, the commitment of being a better version of yourself every day push you to do more than that, right? So even if we skip forward all the way to the Red Bull competition, and that's why I'll get to this question now. I always remember back in, I think it was January 2018 or February, somewhere around there, you came to Trinidad because you had a layover before you had to head off to the Red Bull Threestyle.
To Panama,
And I was really fortunate that Chacha, DJ Sly, and a couple of the guys, you and myself, we went to Rockstar's DJ Academy because you wanted to put
big up Rock on that too.
Right? So again, which is the question I asked Andre, and I want people to understand this, because again, it's a commitment to work. And you said something to me at that point in time which has stuck with me ever since then, and that's why even for Kerry and some of the other guys, if they say I'm not able to do freestyle, I understand that, right?
Right.
Anybody that doesn't understand, give them the kind of understanding now of what it takes for you to be able to develop a winning Red Bull freestyle competition routine.
Good. I'm glad you asked me that question too. And I was listening last night, and you were asking Kevin Crown something about it, and there was some in Kevin Crown promo that asked. So and I said I would talk about it today.
Right.
It's funny because a lot of what we touched on, and the entire journey is what brings me to Red Bull Freestyle, and everything that made me as successful as I was in each of these fields I entered into. Right. And it was remember we were just talking about natural and natural talent and blah blah. Right. For me, I have this thing which is it's an obsessive personality. Right. And like this in the background is a remix I'm doing, and I've been working on this for about 2 weeks every day. Right. You know, I won't stop working on it. I won't stop tuning a sound until it sounds exactly how I hear it in my mind. Right. I won't stop working at a scratch until I hear it exactly the way that I need it to sound. Right. I will not quit on it. It's an obsession. And that's why like I don't really consider myself to be talented. I'm obsessed with finding out the way to get things done. And I look at guys like Kerry, and I look at guys like DJ Puffy, who I believe are naturally gifted with an ear for certain things.
Correct.
You understand? I don't feel like I'm gifted with that same ear. I feel like I have to, and I should probably not judge them because I also don't know what they do behind the scenes either. But I remember even Puffy from young, that he, as a kid, like he had an ear for like sounds and choosing songs that went well together. I didn't have that. I would choose songs and the drums don't match and blah, blah, blah. I had to obsessively go back and forth until I got it right. Right. So with regards to the Red Bull threestyle, I'm not saying you need to have an obsessive personality, but what I feel like all of that obsession with all the things I've done has led me to the freestyle and getting through was that it made me have an edge over everybody else because they probably didn't have the same drive that I would have in terms of going out there and getting a sound or filming a video that nobody's ever seen or making a sound. Like for instance, my freestyle submission for the one that I did in Panama, the submission video, I produced about 2/3 of the entire submission, the 5-minute submission. Right. Now for 5 minutes, that took me months to create. Right. The average guy might just go in his laptop and try to find the best songs or see a man do something on freestyle and say, I can do that. I'm the guy that's going to obsess over what can I do that nobody has ever done. I know you see that is really hard to achieve. Right? No, I'm not saying that I perfected that. And that is something that drives me real crazy. But what I will say to people who are looking to enter the freestyle, if somebody has done it before, don't do it. That is one of the biggest pieces of advice that you could ever get in the Red Bull freestyle. If somebody's doing it already, don't do it. Find something else that nobody has ever heard because that is what they're looking for. So for me now, in preparing for Russia, which is now going to be in 2021 because of the whole COVID thing, I feel like I haven't been putting in as much work as I should, but I have been putting in work into creating sounds and recreating my identity as a producer, as a DJ, to songs that people have never heard. And that's a big risk because it could not work. It may not work. You know, when I did Sometime, for instance, it doesn't really sound like a typical soca song. I actually find it's more Afrobeat than anything else. Right. So I left it and I did it like that on purpose because I wanted that when I put out this song, people might either love it or hate it, but there will not be any sound that sounds like this song. Right? Same with the Red Bull threestyle. I did not execute that in Poland. Right? And I think that was one of the reasons why I would have lost because when I did my night, I was unique because I was doing Caribbean music and stuff like that and nobody else was doing it. You know, I probably got the most crowd response on my night and I still got my ass handed to me. And it boggled my mind for a while. I was like, why did you lose? What caused you to lose? And then when I studied the competition more, it's like these judges are human beings, right? And remember we were just talking about when you go and you hear the same sounds all the time, blah, blah, blah. For them, that's how they feel when they hear certain word plays over and over. Or people doing very basic word plays and stuff like that. They're like, we heard this already. You know, so for instance, for me just saying like, I'm unique because I'm the only person in the competition playing Caribbean music, to them, it's not that unique because Puffy already did that. Puffy's already played the Caribbean music card. He's already played the Rupee Tempted to Touch dub. He's already played the King Bubba and the Cherish the Life by Voice in the World Finals. So does that mean that I now should not play it? No. It means that I might need to reinvent myself. So that when they hear Jus Jay, that they hear a sound that nobody has ever heard. So how do you achieve that? I got sitting here hours, months.
And funny enough, which is a part of the story that I shared, because Kerry and I spoke about that, and when I spoke to Puffy a couple of weeks ago, we had that part of the conversation. I remember you saying to me that you literally had to give up gigs for that point in time, and you had to give up Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago in that point in time because you had to be zoned for this one competition.
I when I was going to Poland, I canceled everything for the entire of November and December because I had found out that I was in a month and a half before I had to travel to Poland for the World Finals. And to be honest, between me and you, like I didn't understand it back then, but I wasn't ready.
Right.
I was really not ready for a lot of reasons. I was not comfortable. I didn't understand truly what the judges were looking for, especially with regards to originality, which is the most points for the entire competition.
Right.
You know, I wasn't really ready then. I'm not even really ready now, I don't feel. But this will absolutely be the last time that I enter the Red Bull Threestyle. And is not, I didn't enter it to win. I entered this competition again to fix what I did not do right the last time. And I want that when people hear the song that I come in through with, that this man, I don't know where his mind was when he did that.
Yeah.
I don't care if they dance, I don't care if they like it or dislike it. I just want people to hear the sound and say, geez, this man, where do you even get that?
So would you say that after the Red Bull Threestyle competition that you competed in before, you came back with a motivation to do it again? Or was it something that you had to sit down and stew on for a while and say, well, you look at the business sense, you look at the time that you have to invest in it, because obviously you're doing production, you're doing events at the same point in time.
Yeah.
All those things are going to take a particular level of mental and emotional energy to put to, which again is one of the last things we have to talk about. But did you come back from that competition saying, yo, I'm going back in this next year, I'm going to go back in the lab and put any work on? Because you just said you're obsessive with being able to do, I guess, what you're set out to do, right? Was that your thought process, or was it something totally different?
No, I knew that I was going to enter again, and I knew it would be the last time. However, I was only entering when I knew that I had the sound that nobody had ever heard, which I know that I have now. And nobody in this chat really has heard it before. Right. You know, it's not something that I put out. Like when I put remixes out on the internet, it's not that. You know, it's deep stuff that I have hidden away here that I've been working on, that I want that when I come up with it, that nobody sees it really coming, you know. And I had found it. Long story short, I had found what I was looking for. If I did not find what I was looking for, I would not have entered.
Okay.
So the reason that I came back, knowing that I was going to come back one more time, was because I had found it. And you see, finding that thing, that could take a long time, man. I was talking to DJ Quest about it. I was telling him in Panama, I said, yo, like, Quest, big up to all the Antiguans, if you got any Antiguans in here, like, he did a phenomenal job. I was so, that guy learns really fast.
He does.
I remember when he did his submission, I told him, you know, I'm very honest. I told her I wasn't really very impressed. It wasn't bad or anything, but it wasn't really anything that interested me. Like, remember I told you, like, to be, when you're doing 3-star routines, the aim is to do something that nobody ever really heard before. Yeah. Right? And I told him, you know, like, some of this stuff a little cheesy for me, and some of this stuff is done, it's been done, you know. And he came back to Panama with a routine that was real nice. And he still had technical problems on the night, and he was still able to execute. Yeah, we all did. We all had the same technical problems, man. He had a little more than everyone else. He had travel problems too. So he was stressed. But I had told him, you know, I think that you could win this competition if you find that thing. The same thing I'm talking about. What is the thing? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. You know, I draw references all the time to Diplo, who is somebody who I really respect in music. And it's for the reason that he is the person who starts trends and does things that nobody's really doing. When you hear that, that electronic thing from that had taken the world a few years ago, that sound, that was Major Lazer. That was him. That was Pon the Floor with Cartel. Right. Pon the Floor. Before that, you were really hearing songs with that detuned synth kind of vibe. Then everybody followed that. You understand? But the point is that when he did it, nobody had been doing it, and it was fresh, and people liked it. You know, so when I think of it, like for instance, he took the Caribbean sound when nobody was using Caribbean sound. He did that. And then all of a sudden, Justin Bieber came with Sorry. And then the Tropical House Wave came, and Rihanna Work, and all these songs. Before Major Lazer was messing with that vibe, you know, nobody was really fusing that Caribbean sound like that. You know, so that's what I'm trying to get at with the Red Bull Threestyle. When you enter, you need to find that thing that nobody's doing. As you say that, there's a question I've always wanted to ask you.
I thought tonight would actually be the best time to do it. Big respects to Puffy, because as I said, when Puffy went into the competition, it was like, as you rightfully say, a Barbados native has gone representing the country in a forum that many people probably would have never thought to see a person from the Caribbean. When I say Caribbean, I mean Barbados, our island represented. But in multiple conversations I have with people, just general people in entertainment, there's always this talk about, you know, Puffy and Jay. Is it something that you're aware of, that there are always conversations and comparisons when it comes down to you and Puffy? Is that something that bothers you? Because and I know you. I don't get Puffy are really good, so yeah.
I don't really hear that often. Right. I know that people compared us in a threestyle light, obviously, because again, DJ Puffy, if we're talking about being unique, he entered the threestyle when nobody from the Caribbean was doing it.
Exactly.
You understand? Nobody did it before him. He was the first. He was that Diplo on the Major Lazer sound.
Yeah.
You know, basically, you know, Puffy is a star. And I don't think there's a competition. However, whenever there are people who are from a place that you don't really get a lot of people doing a certain thing, they're gonna compare whatever they can. You know, it's kind of like Drake and Tory Lanez in the earlier days. You know, like not a whole set of rappers are coming out of Canada. So there's Drake, there's Tory Lanez. Let's compare the two of them. There's no real comparison. You know, Puffy is a lot more advanced than I am, and he always has been in terms of being out there. Yeah. You know, Puffy is a star. And I say that all the time. He has always been a star. Right. Before I started DJing, he was DJing before me, and he's like 3-4 years younger than me. Right. You know, he would hoist around a heavy NS7 behind him everywhere he went. You know, other DJs would turn up with little controllers, including myself. He made sure that he was always dressed well. He's a star. You know, I don't compare myself to him at all. You know, and I don't think people should either.
And that's also something that, again, we want to stress the DJs here, that there's no comparison, because it's two unique individuals who have two unique different styles and two unique ways of approaching what they do. So what works for Andre is not going to work for Jay. What works for me is not going to work for Carrie. And I think a lot of times, I think DJs in total want to emulate people that they see, which is fine, because one of the reasons why we started this is to encourage and to provide motivation, especially for people right now who may be home and they're lost on what they could do to find themselves in this point in time. But it also means that even if it is that you look at a Jus Jay and you say, yo, I really admire how he does this, and he probably showed me a couple things, just going back to you and threestyle, you have to find you. You have to find your own style, and you have to find your own self. So now nobody knows that to go back and represent again. And as I say, you didn't want to go to not necessarily win, but to fix the things that probably you didn't do the last time. Because now you're going back as Jus Jay, you know. You understand? You're not going back as, well, okay, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. You found that unique sound, you know? Yeah.
I think anybody who knows about me and Puffy, truly, who really are more in a Caribbean realm, who knows, wouldn't compare us. Puffy is so different to me. Like, when Puffy was that hip-hop guy, I was that EDM guy. You know, I was that electronic house music man. Puffy was that hip-hop, hardcore hip-hop head. You know, he looks different to me. He dresses differently to me. He talks on the mic differently to me. You know, we are very different. The only similarity people have to compare us has been the Red Bull threestyle. That's the honest truth. You know, there's no real comparison. And I have a lot of respect for him. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't know, but we grew up together. I knew him for the time he was about 5 years old. We lived in the same house. You know, it was separated into three. A guy had this landlord owned the house. He separated the house into 3 parts. Puffy lived on the left-hand side, I lived on the right-hand side. I knew him from the time we were kids. You know, I used to watch Puffy mother cut the ass and tell him come inside. Like,
Mama Puff. Mama Puff.
Like, I know him. I know that guy, you know. So, you know, I just kind of feel like, another thing I want to say to any DJs in this chat, especially young ones, I know a lot of you look up to Puffy, and you should, but be careful how you look up to him, because sometimes there are very unrealistic targets to be met.
And expectations.
And high expectations. And you always got to remember that everybody can't be DJ Puffy. Everybody cannot be DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I can't be DJ Puffy. I can't be the first Red Bull freestyle champion of the world who's from the Caribbean. Puffy did that already.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes like that even hurt me slightly in the process too. Like thinking like, shit, like he did that, like what am I gonna do now? Like, are people gonna look at me, his shadow? I had to get out of that. That hurts you. Like looking at him, like, and like it's weird too because he come from a school that is a school that real successful. I know this one Duke in the chat didn't talk big, but Combermere School, that's where Rihanna went to school.
Right.
Captains for the West Indies team went to school. That's where Puffy was the head boy of the school.
Right.
You know. And as such, like when I think about it, like Rihanna coming from that same school, remember trailing back to me saying when she got signed, I had these stars in my eyes. Yeah. Sometimes you can set very unrealistic expectations for yourself. There's some people who are just meant to be that person, who just have that star potential, who are just in the right place at the right time, with the right talent, or with the right skill, or with the right drive. You know, I find that Puffy is one of those people with all of those outlined. I find that Rihanna was one of those people with all those things outlined. You understand? Like Puffy was on the radio, going to the radio with his Combermere school tie and his uniform on. You understand? I had never even touched radio till I was about 26 years old. Right. You know, like circumstances make so that different people have different paths. You understand? And when you watch somebody like Puffy, you could say, yeah, I would love to be like him, but be very careful because you're not him. He is him, and you may surpass him or you may not, which is why you shouldn't compare yourself ever to him, be inspired by him. But I don't ever suggest anybody to aspire to be like somebody. Be yourself.
You raised that point, and this was something I had later on for us to discuss. So I'm gonna discuss this with you, and then I'll get to some of the questions that our people will be asking. One of the things I've been hearing a lot from people during this time is that, you know, we all home, as Kerry just like to say, there's a great reset, and you know, you should utilize the time to do this, and you should be doing that, and you should be doing the other, because, you know, you want to go out there and you want to be able to come out of this 10, 15 times better than you did when you started. And a lot of people have been on social media like, you know, if you don't do this now, then that was never the problem. You're the problem, right? I'm having a conversation with a friend of mine. She was saying that social media now has put people to have these high expectations, as you said, that they must do this because other people are doing it. So Jus Jay right now producing a track and doing this. So I have to be like that. I have to be. And she was making the point that there are some people out there right now that are just treating this time to center themselves and to find that part of themselves that they probably didn't even know existed, or they didn't have time to find during all the period of time when you were running down to do everything else. And I wanted to ask you the question because I know a couple of weeks ago I just sent you a random voice note because I didn't see you on social media for a while. I was like, yo, Jay, just checking and make sure you're good. Not for anything to do with party, not for anything to do with fete, but just because as us in a circle, you know, there's always say checking on your strong friends. As my friend was saying, checking on your strong friends, checking on your weak friends, checking on the people that you love, checking on everybody. That is the way that people are looking at it, right? So do you feel that social media now has put that pressure on DJs right now for them to try to find this thing or find this sound or find this person that might not necessarily be you, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think that everybody's going live, and remember the same thing with the threestyle. I think that can be applied to you as your career as an entertainer. Just because Kevin is going live and Rigo is going live and whoever else is going live doesn't mean that you have to go live. Yeah. It doesn't mean that because they're going live, and Kevin raised a point that could easily combat this last night. I thought was a really good point when he said that you never know who's watching, that people are focused on numbers, and you know, it doesn't matter. It could be one person who just popped in your life and took a liking to you and that changed your life. Is very true. But I think that there's a B side to that. It doesn't mean that you have to do it if it's not you. Yeah. Like, I'm not really doing any lives. A lot of people have been asking me, and I have done a couple of them, but most of them are for charity. It's 2 of them. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't do one. I might do one if I find something that I feel is different enough that people could tune into, you know, or that would add some value to what I do. I'm not gonna go live just for the sake of going live, just because everybody's doing it. It's not my thing. I don't want to go live and just play music. I want to play for people in real life. There's some people who are playing for people live and they love it because it's still people commenting and stuff, and that's cool. For me, I want to see real life people, and I had really loved the Uber Soca Zoom parties, by the way, because there were real people there partying with you. You know, so I really enjoyed that. You know, but I definitely think that a lot of people feel like, damn, if I don't, and I was kind of like that when the lockdown first started. It was like, geez, am I gonna disappear if I don't post content continuously? And I was like, you know what? Post when you have something.
When you feel to post, yeah.
I think that one of the things that actually affects my mental health is this whole constant. I have to do this for social media, or I can't post this, and I really want to get out of that. I feel like a slave to Instagram, you know, like I gotta watch what I post and when I post, and if I post at this time, you're not gonna get 200 likes, and I don't want to fucking do that shit, you know. Yeah. I want to just post whenever I feel like, or go live if I feel like, you know. So I feel like to any DJs on here, like, you don't have to go live just because other people are going live, because so much people now are going live that now people are tuning out of lives. I've watched DJs live numbers drop from 5,000 to 500.
Yeah.
It was fun at first, and now is like everything else has just become so watered down. Like everybody can't do the same things.
Which brings me to my next question. What do you think, or what is your opinion right now on the virtual party scene? I asked that because last night when I was talking to Kevin Crown, he was mentioning that, you know, he is now, as he said, he is putting himself for bookings for virtual parties because he understands that that's happening right now. Yeah. But I do have some friends who are like, their belief is that the virtual party ecosystem at some point in time is going to fail, or not fail, but it's just not going to be as novel as it was.
It is already failing. There
is nothing that can replace the natural connection you have when you go to an event and you see somebody you know and say, yo, what's good? What is your take on the virtual party scene right now?
I never took an interest to it. The only thing that got me interested was the Uber Soca Zoom party, and that was because, like I said, it was like 5,000 people. You could see them dancing in their living rooms, and you tell them to put up a flag, and you can see them physically doing it. I had loved it, but the Zoom platform to me was not good for audio, so that crippled it for me. Right. I think that Kevin, like Puffy, is one of those people who were like the first, and he even said it. And
they found that niche that suited them.
So for him, I think that's cool because you were one of the first, and he did it well. Kevin is a guy that I really respect because he's tech savvy. He's kind of like me. He obsessively gets it right. You know, he does it and it looks professional. Yeah. You know, cool. Kevin was one of the first. Rigo Suave and them guys, them New York guys, they were on it, right? But there's only so much room. Everybody cannot do the same thing. I don't think that virtual parties have a chance at all. I think that people were hype about it because it was funny in the whole lockdown. Let me dance and put some ones in the chat. And don't get me wrong, there's some people who still like it. There is a market and there are people. Yeah. But a lot of the crowd that gave the impression that, yeah, this is probably the new thing, they faded away. There's nothing that will be able to replicate you being around people in a party. That's why people leave home to go to a party. Or they can just turn on the radio and dance at home. Yeah, it will never, to me, it will never. I just think that is a good tool for DJs to market themselves. That's just my opinion. People can fight me on that. I don't see much future in it. Honestly speaking, if this Corona thing doesn't go away soon, all of us going to be out of work. That's the honest truth. Yeah. We
are in probably the greatest global crisis of our generation. When you listen to people who lived back in the early 1918 and what, they could tell us about the influenza at that point in time. But for us, this is the biggest challenge that we've ever faced as people in total. But one of the great things about it is that out of crises like this, you get innovation. And you of yourself, you went through that challenge and that struggle where, as you said, you have all this money in debt. And now you have to think of innovative ways to be able to get yourself out of that because you're in a crisis, right? And that's why I say that. And that's why I say that even though people right now, look, and I am one of those people, I tell myself this every day because as when I was talking to Kevin last night, we were talking about anxiety and how I myself suffer from that. But we're also saying that at the end of the day, if you are seeing other people doing whatever they're doing right now at this point in time, and that's their way of processing this, that's fine. But don't be pressured to feel that you have to be the next Jus Jay.
Exactly.
At this point in time. If you need to take this time to just sit down home and watch Netflix and figure out yourself, that's fine. If you've been using these group theory lives to learn something and then you go to other forums to learn something, great, because that's what we want to do. But at the same point in time, it's about individuality. I saw Hypersounds was in the chat as well. Hypersounds is one of those kind of guys that sounds totally different to anybody else.
And that's what I love about Hypersounds. He would never just come. He wanted his own sound, and he does. You hear a Hypersounds record when you hear it.
So Hypersounds doesn't sound like Cartel.
He don't sound like no, he sounds like Hypersounds.
Man sounds like Hypersounds, and that's how the man is. And that's
he's still here.
Yeah, he's still here. So I was saying for us, I think, you know, one of the major things you want everybody to get from this group theory live tonight, and I think that's what I said. This is now an example of natural progression, because you and I never thought that the conversation would probably reach here. But at the same time, the kind of person that you are and the kind of guy I am, we all understand the narrative that we want to say. And the narrative is, as much as you could look up to anybody that we've had on the lives, whether it be Puffy, whether it be Kerry, whether it be you, whether it be myself, anybody, bottom line is that the originality of you being you is the most important thing. That is the most important thing.
You see just now, trailing about 2 seconds, right, when you said about pressure, I wanted to slot some in there. I have been playing more PlayStation during this COVID-19 than anything else, right? But I'll tell you what, right? In doing that, because I don't usually play so much PlayStation, I be doing other things and traveling the world and da-da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
Now, we were talking about, you were asking me about DJs if they feel they need to go live because everybody is going live. And let me tell you this, I was just talking about all the debt that I was in, and I didn't say, let me rush and put out this video in January because I need to start making some money. It took me 11 months before I even attempted that, right? Don't let pressure force you into doing something because you feel like, I have to do this or else.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most important thing is to sit down. Sit down. It could be for a day, it could be for a month. During the threestyle Panama process, I was sitting down playing games and doing all kinds of different things and traveling. I didn't cancel any of my bookings. I was just sitting and thinking. I'm on a plane and I ain't trying to make no routine. I just sitting down thinking about the move. It's like if you were an athlete and you say, well, let me just run a 400 meter because all you gotta do is run around track. That's not true.
Right.
There is strategy in running a 400 meter as there is strategy in running an 800 meter. There is strategy in everything that you do in life. And a lot of people feel pressure and there's a rush into things.
Yeah.
Right? I think that people need to take more time into sitting down and thinking. You see me sitting down here playing games. I talking to people that I don't ever talk to. I got friends and things on there that I play FIFA and Call of Duty with, and I don't ever talk to these guys unless I'm on the game. Some of them I don't even know what they look like. Yeah. Guys that I meet within the gaming circle or whatever. And they talk about things that I would never have heard if I was not playing that game with these guys.
Yeah.
The same things that happen in a society that I would never know happen if I was not there playing games with these guys. Sometimes people feel like they're just wasting time.
Yeah.
You only wasting time if you want to be wasting time. But sitting down and thinking about your moves is not wasting time. People like to rush too much.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's just because, again, going back to what we said earlier in the conversation, social media has now driven the narrative of instantaneous information. So if I want to know what's going on with somebody now, I'll just go on the Facebook or go on the Instagram and see them posting. And as you said, you sat down at the beginning of this and was like, you know, I don't want to be pressured by when to post. I'll post when I want to. And that's why I said that for me, I just sent a random message to say, bro, I hope you're good. Because
I remember.
And at the end of the day, it's because, again, a lot of people who are looking at what's going on right now feel the need that they have to do something to be able to fill
You
this
don't have to.
And,
Maybe you should actually take the time to not do anything for once.
Yeah, and that's
come
why,
back refreshed.
That's why when Kerry said it, it was a big reset. Because for me, and I'll tell you personally, me doing these lives has been a reset for me because I've always loved doing things like this. I've always loved being able to put people to understand that we are more than just DJs. So when people have these conceptions or these preconceived notions of who Jus Jay is or who I am, who anybody is, now we actually have a chance to break down certain things for people, for them to understand it's more than just threestyle. It's more than just sometime. It's more than just the party or whatever. But there are so many different aspects to you as a person that now by sharing your story, hopefully some other person looking at this would have been able to see it and ball, you know, I really shouldn't look at life in this particular way. Let me find me first before it is I could actually go out there and say, well, let me be the next Jus Jay or let me be the next Puffy. And that is, I think, is the most invaluable lesson from this.
And the thing about it is what people don't realize about that, right, is that if you are the next somebody, then you're nobody. You are that person, and then you don't exist. Because I always tell people, right, I remember when Rihanna first bust as well. And so many people were hating on that girl, including here in Barbados. People were hating bad. People were hating straight up. Oh, she sound nasal. Oh, she can't sing. She can't sing better than Beyonce. She ain't that good. She don't look that good. She used to have these spotty foot and blah, blah, blah. And all kinds of shit they used to say about Rihanna, right?
Yeah.
And then the girl turns out to be one of the biggest icons that the world of music has ever seen. Right? But the question is why? The answer can be fairly simple and fairly complex at the same time. The simplified answer, in my personal, and this is my personal opinion, is that there was no one on the face of the earth in terms of music that was out there that sounded like her, that was her, that was from the islands, that was singing pop music from the islands with that look, with that youth, with that sound, you know, with that twang, the Beijing twang. She's doing interviews and people are like, what accent is that? I love that accent, blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody had ever seen a pop star like that before. Just like when Shakira burst out on the scene, nobody had ever seen a Latin pop star like that really before. Maybe Selena, but she was more of like a ballad artist like that. You know, when you talk about the way that she sounds, she only sounds like Rihanna. Rihanna could be talking anywhere in the world, and I know it's her. There's no person in the international realm of music that sounds like Rihanna. There's no one in the international realm of music that sounds like Jay-Z. There's no one that sounds like 50 Cent. There's no one that sounds like Beyonce. These guys are stars for a reason. Even if we come home to DJ Puffy, if we want to talk about DJs, there's no DJ Puffy. He has always been that guy. He's always been the fashion conscious guy who is really skilled and really, and you know, one of the biggest things about DJ Puffy, people just like him.
Yeah,
I do not know anyone that does not like DJ Puffy. They got people that don't like me. I could be miserable. I could be a little antisocial. There is nobody that does not like DJ Puffy that I know. I've never heard anybody that is like, oh, he or whatever. All the DJs like him, you know. And you would know this, even in the DJ realm, you know, there's be a little riff here and there between certain guys. They got, you know, even me, I used to do it. I remember I used to be like, oh, Private Rant, you know, all that. You know, a little knucklehead. No, the man is one of the people I actually look up to and think is incredible. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I just because, again, when you look at everybody's story, and that is why I'm going to tell everybody again, that is why at the beginning of all these lives, I like to call everybody by, as we say in the Caribbean, the government name. Because everybody has a story. And yeah, you're Jus Jay, but you're Justin King. And everything that you've done has led up to the point where you are now. And that is why it's important for every single DJ creative to understand that your story is your story. And your destiny is your destiny. So as rightfully said, if it is that you're going to be the next DJ Puffy, you're nobody. But if you're going to be the next you are significantly somebody and nobody can replace that. Earlier when we were talking, I asked you if you had a press kit. And you said, man, I don't really believe in press kit, right? Because it's like, if you know, right? Here's my argument, and you can tell me if you disagree with it. There are a lot of people who have not developed over the period of time the way some of the DJs have. And my thing is, when I was talking to Barry Hype, he was saying that a lot of DJs need to take the craft as professionally as possible. And a lot of times people want to have content from you. And sometimes content can be a mix, but sometimes content can be something like a business card. So recently I was traveling, I went to Dominica, coming back, a guy wanted to get my number, but his phone was dead. And I just happened to have 5 business cards from before because I do sound system rentals. And I had to tell him, he was like, yo, dude, you know, long I haven't seen one of these, but he's like, yeah, cool. And he makes sure and message him and say, here's my contact. So to me, I still believe that if it is that you have not developed that name with a lot of people, they still need to have something as a point of reference with you. And that's why I still see that having a website, having a contact information or some history on yourself actually still helps you to some extent get in the door as opposed to not having it. Your response to that?
I would never say that somebody who has a press kit is wasting time. I don't necessarily have one. I could. It wouldn't hurt me.
And Hypersound is saying that you're one of the hardest graphic guys out there. So that means that you could have the best.
Hypersound knows because he was one of my early clients 10 years ago.
So you could have one of the best press kits of all time, as they like to say, right?
I'll tell you what, right? My thing is this. I feel like even say Hypersounds, I don't think that Hypersounds needs a press kit. I could understand even a website, but I don't really think that you need to, if you need to sell yourself to people, and this is not, again, this is just my opinion, and a lot of people will disagree with it, and just know that I'm not demanding that you take this advice, this particular piece. This is just my opinion.
Right.
I feel like if people do not know who you are, then you got to do a better job.
But can it not be argued that by having those pieces of presentation is a way of trying to do a better job for people to know who you are?
I mean, a lot of the times, like say for instance, to me, somebody like maybe Puffy might do better with a press kit. Why? Because he's so big that say there's a promoter in Asia who doesn't know who he is, and they go and they check and they see his accolades or whatever, it might make sense, right? But say if we're talking about upstart, like upstart DJs or whatever, what are they gonna put on a press kit? Like, yeah, I played at Roscoe's on the Avenue, Frankie's. Like, who cares? I don't know. Like, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that I swear by it. I am just the kind of guy that I feel like if I need to try to sell myself to people, then I really need to do a better job, man.
Well,
I do feel like I still need to do a better job.
So I'll say that we'll both agree to disagree on this. I agree at that point that, again, if you're now upstarting and you have no content to fill these things, it doesn't make any sense.
All right, but hold on. Pause for a second. I hear reading Shireen. Shireen, I know realest with Shireen, what's going on? She says, Jay, marketing is always essential to business. No, I'm not talking about marketing here. Because if Hypersounds could probably tell you, I have a lot of tools and I use them, right? I am not opposed to marketing yourself, not at all. But to me, marketing, which I'm gonna break down real quick because I know we gotta go, for different people means different things. Right. The same way that we were talking about, you can't be Private Ryan because only Private Ryan is Ryan, and only Puffy's Puffy, Scratch Master, Scratch Master. Right. To me, I find that everybody tries to market as if they're doing the same things. Right. Right. But you're a different person and a different individual, and as such, your marketing sometimes needs to be different. Now, for instance, to me, part of marketing, which I feel like some people don't recognize, is what y'all were talking about last night, which is dress code. But everybody don't dress hard. Yeah. Not in my opinion. Patrick is a good example. Hard. Patrick is a good example. Patrick will come in a great example with a normal JC and a normal. Great example. Yeah. And I love to use Private Ryan and Puffy as opposite ends of the spectrum all the time. Yeah. Why? Because Private Ryan is not trying to dress to kill and look like the most swaggerific man in the world. I'm not saying the man's dressed bad or anything, huh? Right. The man's dressed decent, but he doesn't quite dress like how Puffy dresses with all of this fancy kit and crazy glasses and you know, Puffy is that guy. Yeah. That's his thing. Ryan's thing is mixtapes, tying those mixtapes in with events, you know, and tying the DJing in with all of that. Puffy's thing is fashion, making music, and tying in DJing with all of that, as well as being a social media personality. Yeah. I don't find that Ryan is a social media personality like that.
No, he's not. He's not.
But Puffy is. Puffy is a guy that he does some things, and I just be like, "Jeez, you actually filmed yourself saying and doing these things." I would never do it, but
yeah,
I give him props for that. Like, he lets people almost into his personal life. He's almost like a I don't know, like a reality show almost. He lets people in and see what he does. I don't do that. Ryan doesn't do that. So for me, I'm not saying that marketing is not important. I just feel like a press kit is a very dated thing for a DJ. I don't find that if you go to Vegas and shit like that, dog, nobody's booking you on a press kit. If they don't know you, they're not booking you. If you don't have an agent to sell you, they're not booking you. That's not happening. Yeah. You know, so that's just me. Nobody can bring me a portfolio of a press kit for DJs and say, "Yo, Jay, I got some DJs here. Look at this press kit. You want to book them for your events?" No.
Right.
If I didn't already know who they are, I'm not really interested. That's just me.
Right. So we're on the final stretch with Jus Jay, your last stretch. So you just made a point a little while ago about if you're doing an event and somebody, we know what you said about the press kit and all that kind of stuff, right? One of the things that is very unique about Jus Jay is that you are a DJ, you're a producer, you're a graphic artist, but you're also, as I said, an events guy or a promoter guy, right? Yeah. So if it is then, as you rightfully said, that, you know, there's probably somebody that you don't know, what would be the decisive factor for you giving the opportunity for probably a younger DJ or somebody that's trying to get out there to be on an event? Because you do, I mean, it's four events in it for Carnival, that's correct?
Yeah.
Or, right. So what then would be the edge that would give, because, I mean, let me be real about it. I think one of the issues that a lot of people have with promoters is that you see basically almost the same names for events, right? Yes. The argument is always made, yo, there are some of the other guys that could get opportunity to give them a blind, or whether it's a blind or business, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
As a promoter, because you have the experience in that, how do you go about making that decision to give a younger DJ, or not even a younger DJ, but a DJ that probably has that talent, at least that opportunity to play in an event? Since we're not going to dated press kit, right? So we are
cool. So here's my response to that. I'm not the guy that's gonna come on here and try to win everybody's hearts, because I know a lot of DJs do that, and I really can't deal with it. Like I told you, I'm a bad introvert, and I can't deal with the fakeness. Everybody want to pretend that they're helping everybody. You can't help everybody, first of all. So the first thing is you simply can't help everybody. Right. And it's something that frustrates me over time, because people get mad at you because they feel like you're obligated to. And again, people that don't know my story, they look at how I look and everything, and they feel like, yeah, you just get hand things. As a person who really had to fight and has lost everything for the craft, I'm not just putting somebody on my cast, and my cast is my business, first of all. So let me start there. When I put a DJ on the cast, I am separating myself. This is no longer Jus Jay, the DJ. This is Justin King, a man who is investing thousands of dollars, and I need to see a return. Because we already discussed this. I lost enough money, and I ain't losing anymore. Right. All right? So when I put a DJ on the cast, it is for a reason. It's not necessarily the most popular DJs. It doesn't mean that I can't book a new DJ. So let me just clear the air on that. I'm not the guy that you could come to and just feel like I'm just a nice guy. And yeah, we're gonna there are 6 slots on a cast maximum, and there are 7 million DJs in the world. Everybody cannot play. And
you know all of them. Unfortunately, you know all of them.
And that's the problem. When you know a lot of them, it gets personal to people. You see, a quick stray off topic. One of my models in terms of marketing is I do not ever ask to play at anything. Anytime you see me on a cast, is because I was put there. I do not ask to play anywhere, ever. I will stay without gigs. I will not ask. Really? Right? That's part of my model. Yes, that's the fun fact in case you didn't know. But in terms of putting on new DJs, I want to talk about DJ Overdose from the Bahamas.
Big up.
Anytime that Overdose in Barbados for crop over, I am booking him for at least one of my events, if not all. He is 19 years old.
Yeah.
Why would I book him though? What about him makes me book him that I might not book some other 19-year-old from Martinique, for instance? Overdose has proven himself. And I think that a lot of people are asking for handouts without first proving themselves. I'm a guy that I had to fight for everything I had. It doesn't mean that everybody got to fight in order for me to book them, but don't think you're just going to ask me to be on my cast. You just say, oh yeah, this is free for all. Just come and play. It doesn't work like that, though. Like, it doesn't. This is a business we're talking about. Like, my partners will look at me and be like, "Just, you're a madman. He playing where? Who is he?" You understand? So like when I do an event, for me to book a DJ, I need to run by my team, which most of them are 3-4 man teams. Right. They want to know who's this guy. So I gotta sell this person and tell them why and fight on behalf of this person as to why they should be on the cast if they're not a Private Ryan or a Puffy. Because my partners aren't DJs, they're businessmen. They don't give a damn who talented. They want to know, what can I do to drive numbers into this? Because we just invest 100 grand. So then let me ask you a question on that then. Because again, my role here is to play devil's advocate. You just said, as you rightfully said, that there's a reason that goes into booking people for events. No, but I didn't finish telling about Overdose. They just quick for the youngsters in the group, because I'm very big on promoting the young generation, because I feel that when I was younger, a lot of people were not trying to put me on. Right. You know, and I help a lot of young DJs behind the scenes. I'm not the guy that likes to go and post a picture of somebody by me training and all that. I don't need the props. Right. We need to build the youth. So I want the youth to not hear me saying certain things in this chat and feel like I'm just a messed up individual that only thinking about money. But a lot of youngsters, because they're so young, don't understand the losses that come with business, the risk that comes with investment. All right. Now, what I was saying about Overdose as a 19-year-old is that Overdose goes live almost every night with at least 400 or 500 people on Instagram, which is a lot in these times. Yeah. Right. Then he was doing Overdose radio with over 1,500 people. He was, and on top of that, I saw Overdose play in Trinidad Carnival, and he played with me on the road. And that, he don't play like a kid, yo. He just plays some serious music. Right. And then the next day, because I played him on Monday, the next day they moved me to Bliss and they left him on Rogue. And he played, they did not have another DJ. He played on Rogue from the morning until night fell without anybody ever taking over from him. Right. Right. So in other words, even though he has the following, he has the talent to back up the following. He proved himself to me. You understand? And I'm not saying that people need to go out their way to prove themselves to me. Who am I? I'm not the all-seeing eye. But if you're talking about my events, I'm looking to see people who have proven what they could do so that I could then book them for my investment, because I know that they can handle the job. Right. I don't want to book a guy and put him on second and he playing top striker. I don't want that in my party. I don't want a man coming on second in my fete trying to pick up something, run with it, or any of them songs. Yeah. Yeah. I want somebody that I know can do the job. You understand? At the same time, as I said, me just being devil's advocate, there would be the argument, as you rightfully said, somebody has to prove themselves. But then it goes with the saying that if it is that you're not given the opportunity to prove yourself, how would you prove yourself? Because you have to create the opportunity. No, but you see, the one difference between me and some of these other DJs, right, is I've passed the point of sugarcoating, Dread. Like, we can't continue to sell dreams to people all the time. Yeah, I agree with that. This is a hard gig industry, and this is a career and a profession. We do this for a living. I do this 100% full time. I'm not gonna make you feel like this is some kind of charity handout. If you need to, in order for you to prove yourself, you have to create your own avenues. You have to create your own opportunity. If that means that you have to dress the part, or like Ryan, if you have to build your brand off of mixtapes, or if you have to throw an event like I did and lose money for an entire year and book yourself as a DJ because nobody want to book you as a little 19-year-old, nobody with a laptop and an aux cable, then that's what you gotta fucking do. Nobody's just gonna book you just because. Yeah. And we have to start being more realistic. Maybe not as harsh as me, because I'm just real to the point. But we need to start being more real with our young generation, because we have a real entitled young generation that coming up, and they think that because they bought a laptop and just download some music that they're DJs. This is a profession. And you know, if I was to use an example from what I've been looking at lately, which is The Last Dance on ESPN, and you look at Michael Jordan in the 90s,
and he was the biggest sports icon at that point in time, right? And the bottom line is, I remember there was a scene where he's lying on his hotel with a cigar, and people was like, he was literally saying that everybody sees me as this guy that's doing this and doing that, but they don't understand the kind of work and the kind of struggles it took for me to get to this point.
Yeah.
I think when we look now at this generation, even with me, I look at some of the guys who are now social media ambassadors and guys who are big on Instagram, whatever. But then when you listen to them and you listen to the quality of what they're putting out, it's like, but how did you reach at this point? And now what did you bypass to get the stardom, but you don't have the talent to go with it? So as you rightly said, you haven't proven yourself in that regard. You understand? It's just a lot of hype and a lot of talk. And that's what we want to promote.
I just want to give some examples as to how some people in the industry have created lanes. And hopefully if they got any youngsters in it, it could give you an idea as to you know, how certain people kind of did what they did. Obviously started with Private Ryan, who is one of the most noted for being one of the first guys to really bring the mixtape culture online, you know. He was one of them. He was one of the first people, and it's similar to what I was saying about Diplo. You know, you created that lane, you're one of the first people. He was one of the first Caribbean people. I'm not saying he's the first, but he was one of the first people to popularize that. And as such, to this day, whether you think your mixtape is better than his or not, people are still going to go to privateryan.com and play his mixes, whether you like it or not, because he paved that lane.
And it could be said that Soca Brainwash right now is now the brand that defines the music that's going to be going for the year. Yes, and that's not something that started last year.
It didn't.
The year before. He's been listening to
people just see the shine from the gold. They don't know what happens before. You know, but same thing with Kevin Crown. You know, I saw he was saying that he was the first DJ ever to be on an album cover for VP Records or whoever. You know, he's probably one of the first people from the Caribbean DJ community that had been doing these OBS fancy Instagram live streams. You know, being the first to do things, create on consistency. Rainer always has a mixtape out. He always has one out. You know, Kevin Crown is online on live every day. That's what he does. You know, DJ Puffy is always posting some new fashion picture. He always has great camera quality. He's always posting new content, doing different things. Like, you know, he's a personality. That's his lane. You know, it's like the threestyle. It's hard for me to say, do this. Like, it's just like the Rihanna story. I can't tell you that she did all of these particular things. You know what I mean? We can't tell you exactly what you need to do. It's something that is going to take you time to figure out how to do.
I can tell you
how to create a name for yourself, to create that personality that nobody else in the world has.
And that is something that is extremely challenging, which only each individual could do. And there are a lot of people that still struggle with that. We utilize the Puffies, the Private Ryans, the Diplos, the Jazzy Jeffs. We utilize all these guys because they are the ones that we look up to. And just like when I was younger, I wanted to be in the NBA. Jordan was it everything for me. It was 23, whatever. But then at one point I realized probably I'm not supposed to be in the NBA because this is not my lane. So just because Puffy is the image guy who we all know everybody likes or whatnot, doesn't mean that you're going to be the next Puffy. Yes, son? And it doesn't mean that because Jay has done this, you're going to be the next Jay. You have to be able to do what is you. People have asked me for a long time, yo, why I never do an event? I've just never been, I'm the guy to come and play at the events, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be one to do the event because that's not my lane. Yes, son? So that's definitely one of the most important things we want to get out to the discussion.
The last thing that I want to say with regards to that topic, because it's so important to me because I built my career like that. It goes beyond words how hard I had to work to get where I am. And people said I just came out. We're talking 15 years. 15 years. Marsville was singing for 20 years before Bang Ding. I'll give it to you. You understand? It's not going to happen tomorrow. It may happen tomorrow. It may happen next month. It may happen in 10 years. You have to keep working towards it. And honestly, the last thing I wanted to say about it is most DJs that I know, and for those of you tuning in, this kind of a DJ-oriented platform, you know, but this could apply to artists too. This could apply to several different things. But as we're talking DJs, most DJs that I know that have been able to penetrate the market, generally are not just DJs. They do a couple different things.
Yeah.
Willie Chin, Ryan Saeed, and Jester are all great photographers and videographers.
Right.
They're able to market themselves through photos and videos. And if, God forbid, they could not DJ tomorrow, they could be a photographer by profession.
Yeah.
You understand? Like backup plans, different things that can help you. For me, I'm a graphic artist and design all of my stuff, all my events, and design everything. I'm a producer, so I produce a lot of the music. It gives me status that when I hold my parties, I can command a crowd, as well as DJing does give me status too.
Yeah.
You understand? They all tie in. So try to find things that could tie in. DJ Puffy is into fashion. He sells shirts.
Kerry said car show customizing. So for everybody, I want to carry into car shows and customizing. Right?
So if you need a car with some ugly rims, go to
If you need some ugly rims, I know, but on a real though, and I want to endorse this because he's my little brother, so I'll endorse this. Early and truly, when it comes down to tuning audio for your car, check Selector Kerry. That is the truth. But and you're right.
Shameless plug-in, boy. Shameless plug-in. I tell you, bro.
No, I'll take it. I see Chacha won't mind. You won't mind. But no, at the same point, it is the truth that I think, especially now, when we're in a global crisis, which could go to a global recession, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people want to be the DJ, and that's fine. But at the same point in time, also start to think of the other things that you can push yourself into that can help as an ancillary business to what it is that you're doing. You understand? That is very important. Now, I want to get to my questions quick because I'll get hung from it. So I'm just going through all of them quickly from what we have thus far. Somebody wanted to know, what was your worst experience as a DJ at an event?
What was my worst experience, boy? That's a good question. I'm not sure how to answer that, but I think that it would probably be just if I'm playing for a crowd. I think that there's no DJ that can safely say that they've never played a gig and one of them was not a hit. Right. You know, like I think that my worst experience was probably playing an event and you could see people like, he playing though? Yeah. DJ kind of thing. Like it happens. Like DJ Jazzy Jeff has a forum where he talks about playing at a Caribbean party, a soca party in Canada, and it was the worst experience of his whole DJ career. The same question. DJ Jazzy Jeff said that. Caribbean people really. Caribbean people is make you know that if they don't like a song, they'll stop dancing one time. You're done. Right. You know? This next one from Christoph 5243. What inspired you to become a DJ? Which I think is something we had touched on it earlier, but I mean, just to elaborate on what we were saying, like I used to be a singer in a band, and there's something I thought I wanted to do after the whole success of Rihanna and blah blah. You know, everybody has stars in their eyes. In Barbados, people wanted to be a star. You know, I did that for a while, and I realized that I didn't love it, but I did love music. And in the band that I used to sing in is a band, so you had to rehearse music, and a lot of times it meant that you had to sing the same songs every week. Whereas I really wish I could just, you know, do multiple songs, but a band can't just learn 10 million songs. It takes time. Yeah. You know, so being a DJ it also allowed me to kind of expand musically and play whatever I wanted. You know, each set I could play different stuff, and you know, apart from that, I went to New York and I saw some house music DJs and stuff, and that really lit the spark. Yeah. I got a question on Instagram, just for people who don't want to post any general comments. You can message me at Shomari KRL on Instagram. Do you expect artists to release music for crop over, especially since there's no crop over this year? And will you be producing tracks for crop over or for the season, which I won't. Right. I won't, and I don't expect people to. If they did, that would be nice. But again, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I am super business oriented, and music is not just a passion for me. This is what we do for a living. Right. So to ask somebody to spend a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 putting out a record when there's no crop over to prop it up, or no fets for it to play in, I hope that with 7 million live streams going on that you get a spin, is a little unreasonable to ask for me, and I don't expect anybody to do it. But if they did it, kudos to them. But music is very expensive. But then to add to that question, and this is a conversation I actually had with Private Ryan and Scratchmaster, in the sense of, do you think that
it is now important for Caribbean soca artists, especially now that carnivals are being cancelled, to still put out content. And the reason why I say that is because, as Private Ryan was saying, soca has been looked at as a memories music. So I always give people the Top Striker conversation when Kerry and I came back from doing Vincy Mass and a couple of the Caribbean carnivals. We were talking about Top Striker to his own radio station. When the station like, boy, what tune is that? And it's only when they saw the footage coming out from Uber Soca, everybody on trial was on Top Striker, right? So the point is that at the end of the day, we want to be able to transition the music from being memory music to actually music like sometime now. Like, I'll give you props for that now. Because to me, sometimes it's not about a party, I go a party and I jam on somebody. No, there's an actual story to tell with it. So I guess to me, as much as we might look at it in that regard, is it now not more important that soca artists release music at this point in time?
Yeah, what I think that they should do is, and this could be quite biased, I think that they should probably, which I find that Voice did very well, is probably look into some more that people could listen to at home. You know, that 100 BPM, like a lot of that 100 BPM music, like what Cassius do when he's doing these crossover commercial joints, tunes like Sometime, tunes that people can listen to outside, because it's not every day that you want to get up and jump up and down the Top Striker. So I think that maybe if you're gonna release music, maybe you should look into music that people can listen to if they're not in a fete mood, or if they're in a fete mood.
I totally agree with that. Next one quickly, I want to get to two more. Somebody asked, why is it, hold on, right, from a production, there's a good question here. From a production and cultural standpoint, why are Bajan tunes generally slower in tempo? And
why? Good question.
Can we look at Grenada? And Grenada is, generally speaking, at almost all islands in the Caribbean, when it comes to a road march, it must be a power tune kicking down your back going on the road.
Yeah.
But so I do remember a couple of people saying, but sometimes
it's slower. It's slower. All right. So let me put it this way, and I feel like, especially with guys like Hyper Sounds and thing in the chat,
big up
I want to make clear that I am not speaking on behalf of all Bajans, in case what I'm saying does not represent everybody in the industry.
Yeah, so Hyper Sounds, he put out his
I'm going to give my opinion on why the music is a little more down tempo.
Right.
Now, as a DJ that travels the region playing music, it dawned on me, especially when I went to St. Vincent and Grenada, right? There's a difference in culture, first of all. I find that when I went to Grenada Carnival, Grenada Mass, Spice Mass, had a great time. Those people they just wild out.
Right.
They're not as commercialized as Barbados, so they're still very in tune to like their old culture, in other words. Right. They haven't lost their culture. Like, so for instance, this is what I mean. I find that Barbados and Trinidad, because we were always the front runners, we were forced to evolve a lot faster, all right? Whereas I find that Grenada, as a country that is now popping up on the scene, they still have a lot of their old culture intact, because they've not been commercialized like we have. We got flights bringing in thousands of people. We got massive events that have elevated and all these premium events. I didn't even go to one premium event in Grenada. Right. Grenada is still very in tune. So what I'm trying to say in all that is, I find that Grenada has still held on to like a lot of their power music, a lot of their roots and what's not. Right. Barbados, in my opinion, right, has got fairly commercialized, and they've always been a country that's been in tune to dancehall. Anybody that come to Barbados knows that Bajans love dancehall. As soon as crop over done, they want dancehall. Right. Now, the second point about Barbados is that Bajans love women. And I'm not saying that Grenadians don't, but I don't think that their mass is about women the way that Barbados is about women. Right. We about women. Our music is all about woman. Even Hyper Sounds in the chat there, all he's singing about is woman. Yeah. All that we like is woman in this carnival. So it is hard for us to dance up with women at 165 BPM. It's not easy. Bajan men love to dance with a woman. They love to dance with a woman. So they want that slower tempo that they could, you know, get a little wine and thing like that. That's what they like,
right?
You know, so that is just my analogy. Hypersongs could probably elaborate on that, but to me, from what I gather, Grenada and them is about playing a mass in a true form.
Right.
They just get covered down in jab oil and they become a character.
Yeah.
Not in Barbados. First of all, you're covering down in no oil, and second of all, if they ain't got no women there to dance on, the fete done. That's the end.
I see Johan say _B say this is a different conversation, but it annoys me that soca artists are constrained to constantly releasing music every year to stay relevant. I guess he means during carnival season. We can enjoy 90s cartel, but hating on last year Kess.
True, that's very true. I have a response to that too. And again, this is just my opinion, but I've been studying the soca scene for a while, and the way that I feel is that I feel like Jamaica doesn't have seasons, so their music gets a chance to breathe.
Exactly.
Whereas, like, for instance, with Crop Over, you'd release a song 2-3 months before the carnival, and then you pound it in people's ears until they jump. So by the end of that 3 months, you're tired. Whereas with a cartel song, you might hear that song here and there and cool. But with carnivals, it's like you're going 3-4 fests a week. You hear the same songs.
This is why I said, so to add to your point that yes, we need to produce music that could be much more mainstream for the average listener for the entire year. At the same point in time, I still think it's important that artists produce the music now to show that they are artists and not to show that they're producing music for the road or for carnival or for this fete or for that fete. Because if we could do that, then the music probably will get much more the respect that it deserves.
Right. Wait, hold on. Before you go any further, Cheese, you get me in real trouble here now.
All right.
Shireen says, Jay, we have women. Okay, because she's representing Grenada.
Nah,
I am not saying that Grenadians are not but women.
No.
I am saying that Grenada plays mass in a traditional sense. They don't need to dance up on women. I saw it myself. Bajans have to dance on women or it ain't happening. That's all I'm saying. They just love women.
I understand your point. So, Shireen, we take your point. So we definitely we not denying that.
I definitely not, because Grenada, I know Grenada had women. It was real nice.
Especially how Shireen and I met. I'm not denying that point of Grenada at all.
I just need to clarify that, because you know the country wars they start, and I do not get involved in country wars.
That's not what it's about at all.
I love all the islands.
So the next one is, what advice would you give to interns what advice would you give in terms of getting started in production?
Ooh. You know, again, as a person who I feel like I did not have a lot of insight into some of these things when I was starting out, it took me so many years to figure it out. What I will say in getting started in production is anybody could do it, but anybody can't do it, all right? Now, you don't have to be able to play instruments and all that to make a dope production. It's all about ideas. So don't fight down yourself if you can't play keys, because I cannot play keys.
Yeah, and we know a couple of
I cannot play keys. I sit down and I poke out everything until I get it right. And I mean, I am musically inclined though. I used to sing in a band, so I could sing all the harmonies for every key that I play. But what I'm saying is, don't fight up too much with that. You could learn that. But ideas are the most important, and also tone selection. That's something that nobody taught me when I was coming out, and it took me years. I couldn't understand. I was like, why does my music sound like shit? Every year, I can't figure it out. I started out making remixes for soca songs and stuff like that, and I could not figure it out. And it was all because of investment. Again, invest in your craft. Invest in tones and plugins, because them things, without them, you're not going to get that sound, that big international sound. You can't cheat it. You need to invest in sounds. You're not going to get these cheap sounds that come with a pirated software. You're not going to get the international grade if you're not investing in these sounds. So that's the most important to me.
Two last questions here, and this one is really detailed, so I don't know how fast you can answer it. What is the process? What's the process of producing and selling beats for artists, and any complications you've had?
All right, so I'm definitely not the best person to answer this question, and the reason being is, remember we were talking about everybody needs to find their own lane.
Right.
Now, I know that I do have the term producer under my accolades or whatever. Right. But in no way do I look at myself as like a competitor or one of the producers like Precision or Advocate or them.
Advocate.
I've more branded myself to be an artist producer, so I don't actually sell beats.
Right.
I only do music that I am involved in.
For the
it's like, I call it like the DJ Khaled model.
Right.
Right? Or the Calvin Harris or David Guetta, who would have probably been a big just as long as him.
Right.
You know, is more of a I only make music that is my own. I'm an artist on it. You understand? So like sometimes Lead Pipe and Jus Jay.
Correct.
I did do one record and only one record that I was not on, and that's I Shall Return for Kes.
Right. And that was actually that was related to somebody else's question. What process did you enjoy more, I Shall Return or Sometime?
I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I can't. I Shall Return was like the first baby boy, like, and I don't know, like, I remember like we made this, I was talking to this songwriter, Jovan James from Trinidad, and he wrote Temperature for Marshall and a couple of these records. He'd been doing stuff with Kes, and he came to Barbados at the time, and a DJ friend introduced me to him, and I realized he just like me, because like you wouldn't guess it from this stream, but I'm a real goof. Like I love talking shit, like I'm just a goof. And I met this guy, and he seemed real serious, and then we went for food. It was like 4 of us, and the shit that went down, I don't even want to talk about on this Instagram live. It was madness. Like we had a ball, you know, so we ended up making a real good link, and then I had messaged him and told him, Leon, I'm getting into production. I would like you to send me a song and see if I can make a beat to it. Right. So he was watching a movie one night, and he sent me this terrible voice note. Just like he got a real crusty voice. He's like, give me the I Shall Return. I must come back. It was real bad. And I took it, and I right here, cause I actually, this is an entire studio. I can't really see, but I have the recording mics and everything here. Right. So I re-recorded it, and I started making a production.
As in you sang it and re-recorded it?
I sang it, yeah. I sang it myself. And then,
you see, this is
there
why
are parts in I Shall Return, they're actually my voice and nobody knows.
Yes, and this is why, again, the hunt is on for the Jus Jay soca tune. So Carrie, Hyper Sounds, we are looking for Jus Jay's soca tune from wherever.
No, don't do that, man. Don't do that. That's really embarrassing for real. I'm being honest, that's really embarrassing.
All right.
But yeah, anyway, so I did it, and then I spent a lot of time on this song. I was learning, so it was hard for me. Yeah. And I had decided that, because I know like in Barbados, like in soca, from way back, we used to do this real one bounce bass. I hear it a lot in job these days too. But is that like real dum 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 dum? If you listen to like I by Square One and them, like you would hear that old one drop bass kind of thing. So I wanted to do something that sounded like a smooth cast joint, but with a bashy Bajan bassline bounce. Yeah. So I did that, and then Jovan heard it. He was like, yo, like, this is real bad, boy. I think I'm gonna send this to Kes. So my eyes light up. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, let me do this. So he sent it to Kes, and this was in 2017, and Kes heard it and was like, yo, like, I love this, but I already got all my tunes, so I can't do it. Maybe next year. Yeah. And Jovan was like, maybe you should get this to somebody else. I was like, no, trust me, Kes has to do this song. Yeah. And we held it back for a whole year, and it gave me more time to pick at it and all that. And the next year we brought it to him early, and he was like, yo, like, this is it. I want this. Yeah. You know, it was real dope. Yeah. I can't tell you which process is better.
I see Shireen and also Hypersound saying that they dropped the white flag when they came down a little while ago to the island comments about Grenada.
No, because I'll tell you why, right? I put it out white flag, right? It's because one of the things I hate, and I tell you, I am very dreadfully honest. I just go on Instagram and I fucking cringe. I hate it. I hate to see these fucking islands arguing about who's better.
Who is better? I hate it.
It's so fucking stupid. Stop it. I hate it. Yeah, I really do hate it. So what I didn't want is to become a centerpiece. Like if I was attacking Grenada or something, because Lord knows I love all the carnivals. Each one is very dope. Even Martinique. And I get so annoyed by that in Trinidad too, because people will be like, well, you know, there are some people will be like, well, you know, Weezy Mecca and whatever. But at the end of the day, like, if you've ever been to St. Vincent Carnival, and anybody who is inside here can attest that, if you've ever been to Vincy Mas is an energy experience for that 10 days or however long that you're there that you will never ever experience like anything else like that. If you've gone to St. Lucia,
that is the reason why it is that so many people were running back to St. Lucia this year. If you've been to Grenada, then you know what it's like to play a job, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, as much as people might talk about, well, the Bajan music slow, but there's a reason why people come back to Barbados.
Yes.
Because each of our
There's a
islands,
reason.
every single one of our islands has a unique difference that makes us special. And it makes us to a point where nobody carnival better than anybody else.
Exactly. And people don't understand, right, that the reason that St. Lucia and a lot of these islands are now becoming a thing is because of things like people asking why the Bajan soca is so slow. It's slow because Grenada is fast, and that's why people go to Grenada, people go to Barbados.
Exactly.
Dennery sounds like Dennery. That's why people go to St. Lucia.
That's and funny enough, that is it. Long time ago, when I see DJ Slice here, he could attest to this. We've been talking about Caribbean soca from all the islands for the longest while. But in Trinidad, everybody looks at it as, well, you know, they're not everybody, but there are some people that think, well, soca is from here. But when you hear the different sounds and the tones and the way that people sing music in these different islands, when you get a good Dennery segment, as they say, when you're on the boom boom wall in St. Lucia, big up to Fusion Mass, you're on the boom boom wall or whatever. Or when you're in Barbados and you're going down the highway in that last stretch and everything. Every single island has something unique about it that will give you a memory to remember over a period.
You know what's real shitty on my part though? Like half my dad is from St. Lucia. Half of my family is from St. Lucia. Never been.
And they never do a St. Lucia carnival?
Never.
Nah, man, nah. We can wrap up there. You see my jersey? We can wrap up there. We can wrap up there. We can wrap up there. I feel that's it. You never do us.
That is so embarrassing, yo. Like,
salop, man. Salop. You never do a Lucia carnival.
Salop.
All right, so we put it out in the universe now. This is what we'll end on this point. We want everybody to take away from this chat is about your individuality. That is important. But we also put it out in the universe that next year we go and make sure Jus Jay is in St. Lucia for carnival. That we could say.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to say one thing because it's still slightly bothering me, the conversation about the putting on the younger generation before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's really be on my mind, right? Right. I feel like I just want to reinforce, right, that you have to create your own lanes, and it's not going to be easy. And I got a picture here, right? This image right here, this is the first ever DJ picture of me. Right. It's not the first time I ever DJ'd. That NS7 actually belongs to Puffy. Right. He used to lend it to me. I didn't have, my DJ set was crap. Right. I like it. It's because I only had a laptop at the time. Right. So I used to DJ with a laptop and an aux cable. And I used to borrow this DJ system from Puffy. This is the first ever picture recorded of me. Right. And this is actually a Facebook screenshot that if you slide around, I blocked out the person's name, right? Right. I don't think you'll be able to see it from here, to be honest. Right. But it says, it basically says Monday nights in lounge, which is Reggae Lounge, which is a little spot that I used to do a long night in. Right. And that was it. March 16th, 2010. That was 10 years ago, right? There are no likes on the picture. Not one. To this day, there's no like on it. Nobody ever liked the picture. Nobody ever said, yo, Jay, do your thing. But there's one single comment. And I don't know if you can read that comment. You can read that? You can't read that. It says, what is Justin doing? Exclamation mark. Wait, ... So when you see guys in the game, people not giving handouts, yo. Like, we all gotta work hard for it, you know. So don't be discouraged. I could have been discouraged 10 years ago, and I'd just be probably doing nothing, you know. So to all the youngsters, like, keep working. You can find it. It might take a year. It might take a day. It might take a month. It might be next year. It might be 10 years. Like, it takes time. Yeah. So. And look, that is what motivated me to work with Chacha and everybody at Group Theory to put on this. I get a lot of people who message me on Instagram saying that the discussions that we had, people think it's going to be about DJ stuff alone. But then when they hear about
the struggles and the stories to everybody here, they are totally taken back. In many ways, it helps them to now try to figure out how to motivate their own selves to create their own story.